I
Oh,
can
you
hear.
can't?
Oh,
I can.
I
It's
said we're
just
going
you.
live. You can't hear me?
I can hear you.
I can't hear you at all.
That's weird.
I can hear Debbie.
I don't know why that is. Still can't hear me? Well, that sounds like a you problem.
If Debbie can hear you and I can't, let me step out.
I
I'll,
can
I'll
hear
step
both
out
of
and I'll come
you.
back in.
And
Maybe that'll click something.
welcome to MCU Mondays. Jeez.
As always, technical problems.
Well, I don't think they were my problems.
No, it was Dave this time.
He's like, we can't hear you. I was like, speak for yourself.
Now
Hello?
I can. Now I can hear you.
Ah, yes.
Was your fault.
I must have been.
Things that I put up with. Really not that much. Thank you guys for being here on another wonderful MCU Mondays. I got Debbie with me. I got David as usual. And tonight we're talking all about Captain America once we get into it, while we're waiting for the next MCU show to drop, which is Moon Knight. That's coming on March 30th. And then after that, we'll have Multiverse of Madness. So we're excited to talk about those things. But in the meantime, we're just taking a look back at some of the heroes. Last week, we talked about Iron Man. This week, we're talking all about Captain America. So get ready for that as we are going with the theme song right now.
Theme song guy.
Oh, yeah!
Woo! Captain America opener.
Epic.
Yeah.
All right. Of course, that was the last time he appeared as Captain America, which actually brings up a good question before we get into talking about what he was in the MCU. Let's talk about the rumors about him coming back, that he's going to either have cameos or he's going to be back. In the shows, they've been talking about, I thought he was up on the moon. So do you guys think we're going to be seeing Chris Evans, Steve Rogers coming back into the show or into a show or movie?
Well, anything's, I guess, is possible. I also heard he was coming back as Fantastic Four.
Johnny Storm.
Yes,
I've
heard that too. So
maybe for like Multiverse of Madness, but probably not for like, not for like a big, like where they'd have like a multiverse version of Fantastic Four, but they're not going to do a whole movie with that version.
Right.
I think I could see him coming back and doing like cameos through like flashbacks or things like that, or even so far as we found this old recording of Captain America and it's just like a recording he did.
Wasn't there in the comics a time when he was actually on the moon and he led S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that?
Yeah, I think so.
So, they keep hinting at him being on the moon. I think there's definitely potential for him to come back somehow.
Or he could just be up there with Fury on that ship.
Or if they bring him back in, Secret Wars. He's a Skrull that's not really a Skrull. Or that's not really him. It's just a Skrull disguised as him.
They can do that with just about anyone they want, but...
Or it could be Free Guy who comes back, who comes as...
I think it really kind of depends on what Chris Evans wants to do. If Chris wants to come back and do it,
Yeah, and I'm sure he likes money, so...
Who doesn't
There's always
like
an
money?
incentive. Mm-hmm. I just think they've been setting up some stuff with Captain America. Because, like, Tony Stark, I'd say it's very unlikely that we have another, unless it's like some sort of hologram thing. But with Captain America, there are all these like rumors flying around, and we know we're going to see Thor again. There's not even like
Mhm.
a question about that. He's not done by any means. So I definitely think they're setting up some possibilities for Captain America, especially since we don't necessarily know how his second run through at life went. There's possibilities that he did stuff then as well. But that's rumor and hearsay, and who knows. Let's talk about the actual thing. So, Captain America: The First Avenger, I guess, is a good place to start. David
Yeah.
doesn't like it because there's too many montages,
I
The
and
whole
love this movie.
the whole thing was a montage.
It was a backstory for people like
A
me
backstory,
who,
fine, but not a montage.
well, I don't know. I'm a backstory person. I mean, I'd heard of Captain America, just didn't know too much about him. So for me, as an introduction to Captain America, great movie.
they did have to cover a lot of time. The easiest way to show things happening, covering a lot of time, is a montage. So they definitely,
We gotta have a montage.
yeah,
Montage.
and then there's breaks in montage. It's like army training, break to show how intelligent as he is. Some more training, break to show his courage when he jumps on the grenade. Then it's like, okay, when he's over in Europe, the campaign montage of just like him doing a move on a tank, and then they just put the flag on that place, and then him doing another move to like bust open a gate, and then that's another place conquered.
Oh, you forgot the montage of him doing the USO shows
And the
and
USO
selling bonds.
shows. Yeah, there are a lot of montages there, but they're also covering a whole lot of stuff. They're covering like most of the war. They're covering how he got there. So
And it just shows his determination because he wanted to be in the war so badly and couldn't because he had every ailment under the sun before he got the serum. So, because he kept trying to enlist and kept getting denied. And even when he was finally accepted after the serum, I mean, they still kind of threw him to the side. I mean,
And see, that was
yeah, the general says like, I needed an army. I got a soldier, or like I got you.
yeah.
And then later,
I can't
kinda
use you, and
eats
it's like,
those
why
words.
not? Why can you not use him? You can use him. He's just put him in there with the rest
Well,
of the guys.
Tommy Lee Jones was this old cranky colonel who was stuck in his ways, I think is what his problem was. Although I do love me some Tommy Lee, so.
And he, they didn't really know what he could do. How
Or if
he
there would
got
be any
stronger
side
or
effects
whatever.
or anything.
They don't know that he can actually go take down a Hydra camp essentially by himself. It's like, oh yeah. And then he gets his frisbee, of course. The Captain America shield. Although he starts with that one that he takes from one of the chicks, I think. Well, he takes one of their helmets and his original uniform. And he has that kind of like classic shield. But then, of course, Tony Stark's dad.
I think that was like an original version of the shield.
Yeah, because he didn't always have that completely round one. But that's the most iconic one. And that's because he's always bouncing it off stuff. And it makes more sense, at least for a round one to be bouncing off stuff than one that's shaped. And it barely makes sense for the vibranium one to be bouncing off anything because it's supposed to absorb like all shock or whatever. So how is it bouncing? But it's made up technology for made up stuff. So I don't really stress about that. I just think it's funny.
So why doesn't Ant-Man smash the gun when he stands on it?
Well, that's also why I said, because physics. The way that they say that technology works means he just gets bigger, but he wouldn't increase in mass. And then when he gets smaller, he also would. So it's not like he gets super strength. So the Ant-Man thing is really weird, but it's whatever. The vibranium one always just. And when Spider-Man goes like, that thing does not obey the laws of physics at all. Like, I like that even he's pointing it out. Like, that thing's ridiculous. But yeah, it's cool. It's fun to watch him. I always love watching him like bounce it off 3 things, and then like 2 guys go down, and he just like grabs it and keeps sprinting full speed ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
And
this
how it
guy,
automatically just comes right back to him.
if he was in
Kinda
the
like
discus
Thor's
throw in
hammer.
the Olympics, he'd just be a champion.
I
I
think
mean, he's super soldier, so
I think
probably
one of the
win at
things that,
anything.
I think one of the things that bothered me about this movie, and maybe even a little bit about the first Avengers movie or his role within the first Avengers movie, was you had Winter Soldier come out, right after the Avengers movie, and in the Winter Soldier, that was the Captain America that I wanted to see. That was the I'm fighting things, I'm punching and kicking and hoo-hawing my way out of things. And he did it, but not really. I mean, it took Evans, I think that had to do with the actor, is he had to get into that role. He had to evolve into that role. And once he hit Winter Soldier, he was kind of like, okay, I'm at my stride now. I know where I need to be. But building up to it was like, you're Captain America.
You also don't just necessarily start at your best. The intro
he's
movie
Captain America. He should
him becoming.
He still
has to learn how to fight. He still has to learn how to fight. That's why in Winter Soldier, it's like he's had the benefit of working with special ops, and now he's actually a much better hand-to-hand combatant. Whereas in the first one, he's like big punches, and he's still skilled. But he's not like the technical prowess that he now has from just like working with shield agents and learning different styles of fighting. And you see that especially when he fights the French guy in the beginning.
At the beginning.
Bartok.
Yeah. When he takes his helmet off and it's like, what up? French guy? Captain America. Thank you for your help in the Revolutionary War.
I'm French. What are you doing in England? Mind your business.
Monty Python.
Holy grail.
But yeah, Winter Soldier was excellent. The fight, but also that was like the first time they used that fight choreographer, which is who they started using for everything. And the scenes when he's fighting Winter Soldier out in the street, I mean, when they're doing the stuff with that knife and oh my gosh, it was insane.
No, the best was the elevator. The elevator fight, and just the build up to it.
I actually like him versus Bucky better than that. Just because they're equal. That's just him defeating everyone in the elevator.
Yeah,
him and Bucky. That's like, whoa, this guy might actually beat you. Like, there's a serious chance he's trying to kill you, and unlike those 12 other guys, this one person has a chance of succeeding because he also, has the serum and everything.
But Bucky didn't have the cool line where he said, "Does anybody want to get off before we get started?"
That was a great line.
Beautiful.
That is. But I have to agree with Chris. The fight between Steve and Bucky in Winter Soldier, that was some intense fighting, because he's going up against somebody who's probably as equally skilled as he is, but in different things. When he starts fighting with the knives, Bucky, he's using both hands. He's switching the knife over, and yeah, that was some intense stuff. And Winter Soldier probably has to be one of my favorite Captain America movies.
I'd say top 5 for me. Top 5 within the MCU. It's probably up there somewhere. I mean, you take all the MCU movies, and Winter Soldier's probably. In fact, I've got 2 Captain Americas probably on my top 5, and Civil War will be the other one. But I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah, Winter Soldier is awesome, and it did get him moving in the modern day world. Seeing all that, Nick Fury's in it, of course, and Scarlett Johansson, so that always helps. But even without them, the introduction of the Winter Soldier and Cap playing against that, this having a really good villain, I think, for him, because it's like a shadow of himself, or like a mirror version, and that's kind of the best villains are like that. Just like Iron Man had other people using Iron Man suits. Captain America in the first one, he had someone else that had the super serum, or super soldier serum, and it changed him differently. But they're not like, but this is Bucky. They grew up together. They're like have a history together of caring for each other, and now they've both been used or both been exposed to this serum, and their lives kind of went completely different ways, while still focusing around fighting the fight. Bucky gets brainwashed though.
Yeah, with Red Skull, I mean, the guy was power hungry and evil even before he had the serum, and it just made him that much worse. And I love Hugo Weaving.
Yes.
Lord Elrond.
What a guy.
Agent Smith.
Agent Smith.
Mr. Anderson.
Lord of the Rings.
V for Vendetta. He is brilliant.
Yeah, I was watching the I forget what the little in the extras, if you watch it on Disney Plus, in the extras it shows how they did the mask and how he acted through the mask, which, you know, you're always scared when you're using those prosthetics and whatnot, that, you know, it's hard to show what's going on facial wise, and with Hugo wasn't an issue.
And so I guess we can mention Avengers because he's in that. And that's right after he's woken up, basically. So it's his first mission back in the world. And they've got him wearing his suit from like when he was doing the tours and initially. Like,
wait. The
US
spangly blue outfit.
Yeah, it's like, do you really think a guy running around in a spangly blue outfit? It's like, that might be exactly what we need. And so he goes to Germany, and he's like, sweet, at least two places I remember, America and Germany. But Loki's there, and he stands up to Loki, but then Loki gets taken down by Tony Stark, Iron Man, which is great for his ego, I'm sure. But he definitely gets captured on purpose because it's all just to work them against each other. And so a lot of the fun in this was getting to see these heroes that we've seen in their own films come together and interact with each other. And from the get-go, I mean, you see like how Captain America, Steve Rogers, and the Hulk are kind of like nice enough guys. And then you got Tony coming in, and he's nice to some people, but he's also typical Tony. He's a dick. And him and Captain America are definitely rubbing each other the wrong way. Even though that was partially manipulation too, because that whole fight egged them on. The spear was doing that. So, but you could see the beginnings of their kind of friction there between the two would-be leaders of the Avengers and the leaders of the teams when the Avengers do split. So you see that all in the first Avengers. Pretty cool.
I think it was more of a, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was more of a bigger problem for Tony because of his ego. He was so used to being, you know.
Well, even by the end of the movie, I agree with you, but when they have that final fight, he literally says, Cap, do you want to lay it out? And then he lets Captain America give everyone directions. And you see that continues in Age of Ultron, because in the beginning fight of that, he's out there trying to take down the shield, and Captain America is the one that's, you know, kind of running the mission.
Well, and even at the end of that mission, she says, you know, something like, boss, what do you want me to do, boss? And I'm not the boss. He's the boss. Make everybody cool. Mm-hmm. Make everybody look good.
And so then what it comes down to later is it's not that, but Tony might disagree on like what overall they should be doing. So he's like, yeah, Cap, you're the leader, but like that's for missions, and we need to create like a suit of armor around the world. So that whole Ultron thing that he was willing to risk, you know, he doesn't want to, like, he says it, he's like, I don't want to discuss this in a committee. I don't want to be told we weren't meant to meddle, you know, because if he lets it go up to Captain America, then he's going to be like, God's righteous man. Hello, Grant.
Hey, Grant.
Hello.
Hey, Grant.
Andy. Thank
Grant's
you for joining us.
Grant's listening to us from the Dallas area.
We appreciate that, Grant. Whatever area you're in, we appreciate you listening to us. So speaking of Age of Ultron, that's before Civil War, so we should probably talk about it. First, yeah, so Age of Ultron, they've been doing missions together. They talk about how they've been taking down different Hydra bases, and it's clear, like you said, from that Tony line, that Captain America is their leader, at least like on missions and things like that, but Tony has different ideas on, he wants to complete the mission. I think he actually says that when they're cutting wood, he's like, isn't that the mission? We finish the mission so we get to go home. And that really pisses off Captain America because he can't go home.
Yeah.
And that's actually the great way that they ended the series, is he does get to go home. That's the crazy thing, because that was the huge thing on his, he's like, no matter what, because there is no end of the mission for him, because how can he go home? There's no way for him to do it. And so when Tony says that to him, it really...
Well, and you see a lot of the friction again there too, because I think that all happened in the wood splitting scene. You know, you had talked about friction that's building to this Civil War, and that whole scene where Tony's cutting wood and Cap's cutting wood, and they're arguing back and forth about what needs to be done next. It's still there. Yeah, I mean it's fleshed out a little bit more, but it is still there.
Okay. I'm going to show this trailer. Now, this includes stuff even from after. It includes Infinity War and Endgame stuff, but I think we're at a good point to show it because it relates to a lot of the things we've been talking about. And this is a trailer that I made for Captain America. I used the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer music, and because that whole trailer was like about a man out of time, and I was like, it's a guy named Steve who's a man out of time too. So I put that together, and so I thought of this. So I made a Captain America trailer essentially. This shouldn't get us shut down for anything. I checked but if for some reason it turns us off, we'll be back in like 2 minutes, but it shouldn't. There shouldn't be any problems.
Is that your first kiss since 1945?
That bad, huh? It was not my first kiss since 1945. I'm 95. I'm not dead.
Nobody special then?
You've been asleep, Cap, for almost 70 years.
Everything is achievable through technology. Better living, robust health, and for the first time in human history, the possibility of world peace.
Isn't that the why we fight? So we can end the fight? So we get to go home?
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
The war's over, Steve. We can go home. Imagine it.
You could not live with your own failure. Where did that bring you? Back to me.
The price of freedom is high. It always has been. It's a price I'm willing to pay. And if I'm the only one, then so be it. But I'm willing to bet I'm not.
I knew it. That is America's ass.
True story.
Yay! So yeah, I thought that was a really nice little trailer. Puts together a lot of the different things we were talking about. Whoa.
And also the Captain America First Avenger, it totally sets up the kind of unspoken relationship between him and Peggy, even though there was something there, but they never really got to start anything.
And Grant was saying that ties back to Tony's cave conversation, not being able to save the scientist that sacrificed himself for Tony. Yeah, that's very important to him and his development. That was one of the first people that he couldn't save, and he takes it upon himself. Let's see. Sorry for being late. Vase hooked me with lids. George Carlin, hilarious and truthful, fantastic. George Carlin's the man, no doubt. He doesn't want others having to die because of him. Exasperated by Scarlet Witch's mind. Absolutely. She messes with all of them. Mind tweak. That's a great when she's like creeping around in Age of Ultron doing that. Let's see, what's this one? I just spot Captain America's shield in Stark's old man's office killer trailer. Well, thank you. I don't know.
It's possible.
He had prototypes, and I know, yeah.
That shield popped up all through like phase one. It popped up 2 or 3 different first kiss.
Oops. So I'll just throw it on the background. We'll see if
I'm 95. I'm not dead.
And that was another nice thing about the second one, Winter Soldier, was him and Scarlett Johansson hanging out, and him kind of like finding out that S.H.I.E.L.D. might not necessarily be the thing. It might have been the corner.
I was going to say it might have been that lamp,
the corner of the table or something like that. But he was the one that made the shield. And when Tony's putting together the Hadron Collider or whatever in his Iron Man 2, yeah, he's like, that's exactly what I need. And he like bounces on top of.
I want to say it was in one of the scenes in the first Iron Man as well, to where it was just like in the background of Tony's lab. Now, I may be way off base on that, but I want to say it was in Iron Man 1 as well. And the alternate ending for the Incredible Hulk was, if you haven't seen the alternate ending for Incredible Hulk, go see it, because it shows Banner and he's up in Alaska or up north, and at some point he walks past this ice thing and you see the shield in the ice, and it's like, oh, you know what's coming.
Excellent. So, yep. Captain America. Age of Ultron. Basically, there's a lot of dissension between him and Tony, especially when it comes to Vision. That ends up working out, but it doesn't kind of stop like the underlying tension between the two of them. Iron Man and Cap. And that comes to a head, obviously, in Civil War. With the Sokovia Accords and that whole argument, the safest hands are always our own. Come on, Tony, she's just a kid. And then Spider-Man shows up and he kicks him in the head. I'm pretty sure he's younger than her and not a terrorist ever. Mr. America.
That was one of the
That's
things.
Captain.
That was one of the things I loved about Civil War, because it was so hard to choose which team, because you can
It makes sense for both of them. Both sides.
Yeah, I
make
mean,
sense.
there's truth to both sides of that story between Tony and Steve. So it's hard to root, because the first time I watched it, I was like, I don't know who to root for, because you can agree with both sides of the story. So that was a heart-wrenching
I
movie.
think everyone would say Cap was right, isn't that? Because Tony ends up ignoring everything to go. Now they end up fighting just because of the truths that are uncovered, but that was not what he was supposed to be doing, was helping them. And he apologizes. He's like, whatever. Let's just take care of this thing. All right. And he's like, what does he call it? Geez, will you calm down, Manchurian Candidate?
we're in the truce here.
Yeah.
You're killing me.
And so then, I mean, and Captain America actually beats Iron Man in that fight. Now, obviously, he has help from Bucky. Bucky gets his arm ripped off, or
blown off.
Blown off, yeah. Whatever, it's off. Luckily, it was the one he already lost. So,
well, that scene where Tony learns the truth because they're watching the videotape or TV, whatever it was. And I always cried during that scene because it's so heartbreaking. Because
the music is really great too.
Yeah, well, the music in that, in Civil War and in Winter Soldier, is mind-blowing. I love the music, the soundtrack to both movies. But just to watch Steve, I mean, he's trying to protect protect both friends. He's trying to protect Tony from finding out what actually happened with his parents. Yet he's trying to protect Bucky because he knows Tony, once Tony finds out, he's going to go ballistic, which he did. But you could just see the conflict within Steve. And it was just a heart-wrenching scene.
He's my friend. So was I.
And you can see Tony's aspect of it, but then again, I mean, you agree with Steve, that wasn't Bucky. He was brainwashed.
And see, that's always kind of what has thrown me about that one, is that Tony went to Siberia or wherever it was, knowing full well that Bucky had been brainwashed at some point, that he had been framed for the death of
Dr. Broussard.
Well, not Dr. Broussard, but Wakanda.
The king.
Yeah, the king of Wakanda. I can't think of his name.
What's happening, guys?
So anyway, but so I mean, Tony goes in having all of this information and saying, okay, there's something bigger at play here. And then he sits there and lets Baron Zemo talk to him and kind of explain everything. Hey, I'm just trying to tear you apart from the inside. That's all I'm trying to do. I don't want to start a war here. I've killed all these other Winter Soldiers, and I don't want any more of you around. And then knowing all of this, when he sees his parents, yes, I get that you're going to flip out when you see who your parents' killers are. But I would think Tony would be smart enough knowing this to where he would look at that and go, okay, that wasn't him. I get that. It was because of him that my parents are dead, but it wasn't him.
But I think it's just a shock of actually watching them get killed.
Yeah.
I mean,
and why was there a videotape on the middle of a rural road in God only knows where?
Right where they crashed.
Right exactly where they crashed. There just happened to be a videotape in 76 or whatever.
Yeah.
Did they have CCTV back then?
They didn't have GoPros. Nobody was walking around with their cell phone taking pictures.
You know how hard it was to get caught on camera back then? You're the worst assassin ever. One camera on this lonely stretch of road,
and you killed him right in front of it.
Yeah,
way to go.
That was just to track the local population of white-tailed deer. It was a nest cam for a baby owl, and it caught everything. Yeah, that was kind of. But also, if he had just said, "I understand," that wouldn't have been nearly as climactic an ending.
Of course not.
True.
We
And
needed
they
a movie
wouldn't
to
have-
happen.
Yeah. And I think his ego comes into it a lot too. And the betrayal that he felt from Steve not telling him. Like he had to figure it out on his own.
Yeah. Or he had to be told.
Yeah. So he's like, yeah, now I don't trust you. And it's, that's another reason it's such a great movie is because it's the accountability. And that's what Tony's trying to do. He feels guilty for the people that he hasn't been able to save, for the deaths. And obviously he feels guilty about Ultron. So the deaths from Ultron, he probably feels double as guilty about as anyone else. So he's trying to make up for that. Meanwhile, Captain America's trying to make the point that, if we hand over responsibility to someone else, it doesn't mean these things are going to stop happening. It just means we're not going to be able to be the ones who decide where we go. And it's a good point. The safest hands are always our own. If you put all that in somebody else's hands, then they could use it for whatever they want to use it for. Difficult situation.
Shield was, and I think that's why Cap is because of what happened with Shield in the Winter Soldier, where Shield was infiltrated by Hydra.
Right.
Basically, Shield was Hydra. So him saying, "Okay, I got both hands on the wheel. I know who's in control of things." That's just his. I want to say that's not how he was raised, but that's he's been in the situation before.
And even Rhodey, who was arguing for the Accords at one point, especially when he's talking to Sam, he was like, over 200 nations have signed this, Sam. And you're just like, whatever, who cares? It's like he's making that point of it. It's like the entire world thinks that this is what we should do. You can't just dismiss it out of hand. But then when you get to Infinity War and Endgame, especially Infinity War, he's like, that's a court martial, because he just hangs up on the. So you could see he's changed his mind about this kind of thing as well. And it's unfortunate that they have to go through everything they have to go through to come to that, but that's kind of what makes Civil War such a great movie. And a lot of fun. I mean, introducing Black Panther and then
Spider-Man.
Introducing Ant-Man to the others. It's basically like a Avengers movie.
I think
Avengers light because it doesn't have Thor and Hulk.
I was going to say, because I think at some point I was listening to an interview with Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. They were both talking about it, and they both said it was like Age of Ultron 2.0 or Avengers 2.0. This is this is basically another Avengers movie.
Or yeah, like Avengers 2.5.
Yeah, something like that. But it was like, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
It's pretty crucial, to the storyline of the Avengers as a whole, not just Captain America.
And it also sets up the relationship between Tony and Peter Parker and Falcon and Winter Soldier.
And Wanda and Vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that movie sets up all three of those relationships.
I mean, you had the Iron Man, Spider-Man fleshed out in Endgame, and then we've had two shows about the other two, Captain and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision.
Yep, there's a heck of a lot of foreshadowing there. And it even ends on Age of Ultron ends with Captain America going, Avengers? And that it's like,
so close, yet so far.
And so end of Civil War, he actually gives up the shield, which is important as well. Because then eventually when he gets it back in Endgame, that's just a great moment because Tony brings it. And he's like, keep quiet about that. I didn't bring enough for everybody else. And it's just great to see them getting along again. I think that's one of the things that's so enjoyable about Endgame is to see them working together. Even though at the beginning it starts out bad. When Tony's recovered from that shit. Well, not recovered, but he's back. And he starts yelling at Captain America.
You weren't there.
Yeah.
We didn't do it together.
Do it together.
Yeah, there was a lot of getting that trust back throughout that movie, or attempting to. And even at the end of Endgame, I think Steve still felt guilty that maybe he didn't fully make amends with Tony when Tony dies.
Well, I think they're about as amended as they can be. They even had a "Do you trust me, bro?" moment there.
Oh yeah, when they went back to the
when they went back again to the
To the base.
Yep.
Why don't we just find baby Thanos, and...
First of all, that's horrible.
It's Thanos.
It's Thanos.
It's Thanos.
First of all, that's horrible.
Definitely got me looking forward to Armor Wars. Just make sure you bring back Justin Hammer. So Captain America picking up Thor's hammer. That was pretty sweet.
Big moment.
That was Thor sat there and said, "I knew it." And I was going, "I knew it too."
I knew it.
Oh yeah, baby. And then he goes to town. Great combo. Thunderbolts and lightning. Very, 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 very.
Now, what's so funny about this is, and I've had I've seen people online that was like, "Oh, so is Captain America the God of Thunder now? The God of Lightning and God of Thunder?" And
read the inscription.
You read the inscription. Exactly. You're right. If he be worthy, he shall possess the powers of Thor. Now, Thor is the god of lightning and thunder or whatever, but because he's able to hold Mjolnir, he possesses the powers of Thor.
Yeah. Yeah, and it twitches in Age of Ultron when it's like.
I think he could have lifted it right then. I honestly do. I think he just didn't want to show Thor up.
Oh yeah.
I think that was maybe not just yet.
Well, I love, and then Vision holds it later because everyone's like, "Should we even trust him? What's the thing?" Blah 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 blah. And then Vision's just like, "Whatever we decide, it's time to go." And he's just holding it, and everyone's like,
"Okay,
all right then." And Thor grabs it, and he's just like, kind of smacks against his hand. All right, told you. And then at the very end, Cap and Tony are walking with Thor before he leaves, and they're like, "I'm just saying, Vision technically not a person. Yeah, he's a machine. So you put the hammer in an elevator goes up. Elevator's not worthy.
What about in space?
I'm going to miss these discussions." And then he blasts away, and Tony goes, "That man has zero regard for lawn care maintenance."
I need to go back and watch Age of Ultron again.
It's a good one.
I know it is.
Oh yeah.
I don't need to go back and see it because I just miss it. I miss it.
Absolutely.
It's like the child you haven't seen in a while. I will say this about him too. When he did the first Captain America movie, and I was like, "Oh, they got Johnny Storm playing Captain America. How are they gonna tie all this? How are they gonna cross all this over? Or, oh, it's a different universe, blah blah blah, whatever." But as it progressed and went on, at this point, I can't. He's like Tony. You really can't see anybody else playing that part. Robert Downey Jr. fits Tony Stark to a T, and Chris Evans fits Captain America to a T.
Yeah, and that guy that was playing the new Captain in Falcon Winter Soldier got like death threats from people because he was. And I was like, he's supposed to be a villain. People,
come on,
calm down. But speaking of Age of Ultron,
shit. Language.
Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language?
That one's never going away.
My computer froze up, so I apologize.
Shit! Language.
Wait a second. No one else is going to deal with the fact that Cap just said language?
Just slipped out.
Find the scepter.
And for gosh sake, watch your language.
That's not going away anytime soon.
You bet your ass.
Steve, you said a bad language word.
Did you tell everyone about
The
that?
heado's imprinted.
Out with the platinum bastard.
Steve doesn't like that kind of talk.
You know what, Romanoff? Fury, you son of a bitch.
Ooh, you kiss your mother with that mouth?
That's like one of the best running jokes that they have in a movie. That's all in Age of Ultron. That's just great. Are you gonna do with the fact that Cap just said language? Just slipped out.
It just slipped. That's not going away anytime soon.
Oh, these movies always make me laugh.
I will say this too: that one scene in Winter Soldier when he was doing the thing with the helicopter and he's holding it, and he was just ripped. That was awesome.
He hurt himself.
I don't care. It looked good.
He ripped a tendon or something because the helicopter jinked when it should have janked or something like that, and he actually got pretty badly injured.
It's like, I'm not actually,
but it sure did look good.
A Captain America.
I can't complain about that scene, so.
Of course not.
No, it turned out great. I'm glad he wasn't like seriously hurt or anything, but the scene definitely turned out great. Age of Ultron, he tries to choke out a robot. He's fighting Ultron on the roof, and someone's like, "You don't stand a chance against him." And then he like grabs him in a headlock, and it's like, you really don't stand a chance against him. This is not, but there's no one else to distract him. So Captain America's like, I'll jump on that grenade. The grenade being getting beaten to crap by a robot.
Tony, did you lose another super bot?
Wasn't a murder bot. You know we weren't even close to that. Oh, yeah. And there's all kind of rumors that Tom Cruise is going to be playing an alternate universe Tony Stark. And
God help me.
People are already losing their minds because they're like, no one can replace Robert Downey Jr. And I'm like, haven't we already covered the multiverse yet? Are we still not aware?
Do we not understand what's going on right now?
Because they've spent a lot of time trying to get people to understand. And people just don't seem to be picking up on it.
They have been thoroughly explaining it.
Yeah, no matter who they got to play the variant or whatever, people aren't going to be happy. And it's just like, they'll bitch no matter what.
They always do.
Like, it's a movie, people. It's a multiverse.
Yeah, more importantly, it's a multiverse. So this isn't replacing Robert Downey Jr. And even if they did start up like a new mainstream Iron Man with a different person, that happens all the time with superheroes. You're just not used to it with Iron Man because this is the first time he's ever really been on screen, except for I think one terrible time in like the 70s or 80s when he looks like a toilet or something. It's just not even there's a Avengers movie or something like that where they have Iron Man and it's just terrible. Let's see if I can find it.
Well, it's like James Bond. How many different James Bonds have there been?
Well, yeah, and Batman.
And honestly, honestly, if you really boil it down, I'm probably going to get the fires of hell rain down upon me when I say this, but honestly, if they would have done the same thing with Indiana Jones, okay, Harrison Ford did 2 or 3 movies. Now let's let somebody else do 2 or 3 movies and be Indiana Jones for, and then somebody else can do it, and you can just stretch those Indiana Jones stories on forever and ever and ever. You just have somebody different, and then you can have people arguing, oh, well, who was the best Indy? Who was the best Bond?
Multiverse was a genius device to keep using the dead characters that make Disney money.
Heck yeah. I'll agree with that. They shouldn't have killed the characters to start with.
Yeah. But
well,
when they're trying to do a whole everything's connected thing, then it's really hard to reboot characters. So multiverse gives them the ability to do that.
You can't expect Robert or any of the others to keep doing these movies for the next.
Yeah, you want to spend another decade?
Years.
Yeah,
they'll get too old.
Yeah,
you'll have Iron Man adding depends to his suit.
He has a filtration system in the suit. It doesn't matter.
How do I go to the bathroom in the suit?
Old
just like that.
Iron Man. He's rusted. It's like old man Logan.
Well, and that's another one. They're I don't know if the rumors are true about recasting Wolverine.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I mean, that's a hard one because
Hugh Jackman did it for so long,
and he wasn't even liked when he first came on as
he
Wolverine.
still wasn't. Even
there's
when
some people that still don't like him.
I was going to say, even there's still some people.
Serious?
Yeah.
He's too tall. That's one of the biggest arguments is that he's too tall. He's too tall to be Wolverine. And I know that's a silly argument, but that's one of the arguments.
Like what, 5'3"?
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, that's shorter than me, so it's like, how are you going to find somebody who's going to be able to do all that?
Well,
and look muscular.
They make Tom Cruise look bigger in all of his movies, so why can't they make someone look smaller?
Well, they can make.
They can.
I guess they could go the route of Lord of the Rings. They
There
made those guys
the Force
shorter.
perspective.
And there's a bunch of different tricks of how to do that, but they probably don't care enough. They're like, we gave him the haircut.
He's got the haircut. He's got claws. What more do you want?
I can't believe you guys really wear this stuff. What did you want? Leather, yellow spandex?
I can't see anybody being Wolverine other than Hugh.
I've seen a couple. Well, no, I've seen one that I really would like to have seen him, but I think he's too old at this point. But Norman Reedus, I've said this before, from Walking Dead.
Wolverine?
Yes.
Watch that was what you said.
No.
Watch The Walking Dead, and his mannerisms, his build, and his height, and everything, it screams Wolverine. But again, like I said, he's getting a bit old at this point.
Well, a lot of people want to see him as Ghost Rider. I don't. I want to see Ghost Rider, but not with him as Ghost Rider.
What's wrong with Nick Cage?
It's hard to pronounce.
He was okay in that first one. Second one,
I think I've seen the second one once.
I mean, Nick Cage as a superhero is just. I mean.
Oh, that's not right. No.
Exactly. When they were originally going to do a Superman movie with Nick Cage.
There it is.
Wow,
yep.
There you go. Oh, that just, yeah.
There's a documentary on YouTube about that one. About the
his hair looks hilarious in the
Well, he looks like the Superman from the comic books. After the death of Superman, when Superman came back to life, he had
Except he's
long hair like that. Yeah.
He's...
No.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So, Captain America. Any final thoughts?
I think he's. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say he was probably one of the. Well, there might be some others, but I don't think there was a whole lot of growth within that character because he was good before the serum and then he was good after. There wasn't really any, like when you talk about Loki or you talk about Iron Man, I mean, how his character grows throughout the movies all the way up to Endgame. We don't see that much with Steve. Or maybe you guys disagree. I don't know.
He's just adjusting to modern life. I mean, in the second one, you see him turning against the army or like the society. Like he thought that you could just go fight battles, and he finds out that he's being used and other people are being used. So it's not as much personal development as.
And several times he's always had, or several times in different movies, he's had the self-doubt. I mean, he had the self-doubt after Bucky supposedly died. Well, even in the first movie, he had self-doubt because, he was just, there at that USO show and he was drawing that picture of a monkey on a unicycle and that's how he felt. So he's always had the self-doubt at times, but he's always been moral. He's always been stable, loyal. I mean...
Well, not necessarily to Tony. And so...
Well, I'd have to disagree.
He didn't tell him that he knew who killed his parents.
He was trying to protect him.
Well,
are you gonna rain on me again?
He was trying to protect Bucky. That's what he was doing.
He was trying to protect both. Yes.
Okay, well,
let's not forget his cameos.
He should know better because he totally exposed all of S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets because it's not right to be doing that apparently. But when I want to do it, that's fine. Oh, yeah.
Don't forget his cameos. We had Thor: The Dark World and Spider-Man: Homecoming. Captain America cameos.
So, he got attention. Screwed up.
No, the best was the NC. Is anybody even watching this anymore? Oh, no.
A comedy.
Bad Grant. Oh, yeah, okay.
It's a multiverse. How many Lokis were there? There was a crocodile Loki. I think Ben Stiller Loki is somewhere in that. Yes, that would be fine. You can do anything. I like how immediately you guys were like, nah. It's like anything is possible. You could say anything.
Our multiverse is limited to like 5 or 6. It's not limited to millions upon millions. You know what? Cast me. I'll be Iron Man. I'm Iron Man in a different universe. Bring it on. Marvel, if you're watching, Iron Man right here. I'll sign on to play 5 different movies.
Make sure your phone lines are cleared. I'm sure they're.
Yeah, I'm sure they are.
They're listening. They're eavesdropping.
I'll be listening for it. Be at work tomorrow. I'll get a phone call.
Okie dokie. Anyway, I think, David, do you have anything else on Captain America before? Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it.
That is America's ass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are we doing Thor next?
Sure.
Sure.
I like Thor.
We did Iron Man, although we didn't finish Iron Man. We only did the first 3 movies. But we can talk about Thor. Okay.
What's wrong with my laugh?
Apparently nothing. It's a compliment.
It's one of those husky laughs, I guess. Old lady laugh.
You said it, not us.
Yeah, I didn't say that.
Oh, it's true. I'm old. I admit it.
Well, that does it for us here today on MCU Mondays. Thank you for joining us in our Captain America discussion. Remember to join us next week when we're talking all about Thor, and if any trailers drop or if any news comes out, we'll be talking about that. Rumors, all the stuff. But mainly, we're going to be talking about Thor, going and taking a look back at different heroes from the MCU until we get some new stuff to talk about. And that's all the way in March, so we got some time to fill. But we will be here. We will be here Monday nights.
Oh, don't forget to join us on Thursday nights, too. Debbie and I do the Geek News Now Cantina Happy Hour. All Star Wars. Woo!
Monday and Thursday nights. Remember.